So I feel like a bit of a ring in and I'm waiting for Megan to walk through that door and rescue me. But this is actually a collaborative project that I'm talking about today. WWF-Australia has partnered with Climate Friendly to help us do a number of things. One is to recover the plight of the koala. Just before I get going, I'd like to get an understanding from the audience. Who here is aware that the koala is now listed as endangered? If you could put your hand up. Well, that's great. I think that's almost most of people in the audience. So the koala, there used to be 8 million koalas in Australia, and there's now less than 100,000, and that number is still declining. They are predicted to be extinct in the wild by 2050. So to me, if we can't save the koala, you know, I feel like it's connected to our plight. So I feel like we do have an obligation to turn the trajectory around and get the koala back on the map and secure their future. So to do this, we're looking to engage in the carbon finance market to help us scale up the restoration that's needed. There's obviously a number of threats that the koala faces, along with deforestation, dogs, cars, disease, those sort of things. But a key one is a fragmentation of their habitat. So this project that we've partnered with Climate Friendly on is really, we're hoping, is going to help us scale up and be able to put back in place in those fragmented landscapes along the east coast of Australia, crucial habitat which is going to increase their survival. Now, let's see Megan's presentation. Which is the button that I need to press? Is it that one? Yeah. So Climate Friendly, there's a number of people in the audience here from Climate Friendly, and we chose to partner with Climate Friendly as one of Australia's leading carbon services providers. We know that they have been integral to helping shape carbon policy, and they've also been really involved in helping establish new methodologies and establishing credibility in the carbon system. So we've been working on a business model and testing this business model on the ground to be able to show to investors that we can really, through the right investment, we can help to scale restoration for koalas. We've actually implemented 5 projects in the ground. We've actually got one being planted today in the border ranges of New South Wales. The total project is being delivered by the Githibal Indigenous Ranges, right from the cultural burning and lantana clearing, the tree planting and the ongoing maintenance. So across those 5 projects, it's about 150 hectares, and we're aiming to do 500 hectares this year and work towards the establishment of a biodiversity planting fund. So key aspects of this program is working with land managers in being able to provide really climate resilient projects on the ground, so we can ensure that the investment that we're putting in to koala habitat is actually going to be secure from fire and floods and drought. It's also obviously providing sequestering carbon, which is a really important part of WWF's mission in being able to work with corporates and others to meet net zero targets. And looking towards helping us to create the sustainable financing needed to get this off the ground. And for each one of the projects that's implemented, a portion of the carbon credits from those projects will go on to fund the next round of projects. So as I mentioned, we've got some projects in the ground. Some of the landholders that we're working with were affected by the floods, last year's floods. They've been able to feel like they're part of the solution to mitigating these major events like bushfires and flooding through putting a portion of their property back under trees They can still graze in certain situations if they choose to, so it's not just about locking it up for 100 years. There can be multiple use on these projects. In Pilot 2, we're expanding to other areas. The focus has been in the northern New South Wales initially, but we're expanding to other koala habitats of New South Wales, really focusing on those areas that are actually going to deliver really key outcomes. The requirements of the project, we do have, under the sort of business modelling, we do have a minimum of 30 hectares for a project. Really working to develop revegetation and fire management plans that have key, whether it's putting in rainforest buffers to help mitigate against fire. There's a whole range of different sort of climate-ready solutions that we're implementing. We provide 3 years of maintenance to all of the projects to ensure their success into the future. We've developed, along with Nerida's company, we've developed a koala assurance method through Accounting for Nature, which is looking to measure both koala activity and the improvements in habitat quality, and that's providing a surety to investors that we are getting the koala co-benefit to these projects. So we're aiming to build to 1,000 hectares per year across an initial 10 years. This can create between 10 and 20,000 hectares of habitat. That's potentially up to around 10,000 koalas that we will support through that habitat restoration. That's a pretty big commitment towards increasing the number of koalas. WWF-Australia has a bold goal of doubling koala numbers by 2050. If we're looking, that there may be between 90 and 100,000 koalas left, that's a really decent contribution towards being able to help recover the koala and turn that trajectory around. And it will also look to remove, 8 million tonnes of CO2 and provide local employment for our Indigenous partners that we're working closely with in the implementation of these projects. It's also the farmers that we're working with, it's really helping them to make their properties more resilient in terms of ongoing climate change, flooding, fire and droughts, and also particularly where we're just, whether it's building it through shelter belts or corridors or block plantings, it's really helping to, diversify their income. So the idea is to develop a sustainable funding model where a portion of the premium carbon credits created gets funneled back through the fund to fund ongoing projects. Megan's probably a better one to talk more to this, but yeah, that's the general intention of the project. And as I mentioned, we are looking to expand, not eventually beyond koalas as well, looking to other key flagship species that can provide opportunities to work in, whether it's endangered rainforest communities or others, to help us scale the restoration that Adrian mentioned before. And I think that's it. Oh. Yay.